Hey guys, I'm the Dr. Pepper guy. Besides a block nose, which really screws up my sleep and screws up my talking for a long time, I am here and I'm talking about Ultimate Alliance 3. I mean, damn, it feels so surreal for me talking about the game. I've been waiting so long for it. It's pretty much like whatever game that comes out of development hell, you're just like, yeah, this game is out. It's such a surreal feeling. That's me with Ultimate Alliance 3, right? Because I grew up with the first two Ultimate Alliance games. I loved them, and since then I've been waiting and waiting for the third Ultimate Alliance game, and it's finally here. So that, yeah, I was really excited for it, and for it to be a Switch exclusive, like, damn. So yeah, there's a lot of things to talk about. Anyway, these are my first impressions and my breakdown on the gameplay mechanics of Ultimate Alliance 3: The Black Order. And before I get down to that, I have to give you a warning that it's spoiler free. It's a disclaimer rather. I just gave a warning to this alert you up. But anyway, like, this is spoiler free. I'm going to be super duper vague. I'm experienced in this kind of thing. I'm experienced at hiding things, so I can surely tell you that I'm not going to reveal any story spoilers which might affect the gameplay on it. So because I feel like this is something that Marvel fans should go in with a fresh mind, because some things I feel like it's really nice when you experience it with a fresh mind. So with that, let's go on to the first impressions. And also, when I do, I have to give you my conditions, under what conditions I've been playing this game on, because you can because you can get an idea of like what I'm basing my experience off of. So pretty much I've been playing on console mode, offline co-op with another person playing beside me, and then was on the big ass TV with two Nintendo Pro controllers. So those are the conditions I've been playing the game on, and so yeah, that's all you need to know. So let's just get on to the story. So the story starts off with the Guardians of the Galaxy, who run into the Kree and then later try to prevent them to getting the 6 Infinity Stones, which pretty much each of them contain each an essential part of life. So by doing that in the process, the Guardians get transported to Earth, and the 6 Infinity Stones gets scattered everywhere else, and then they meet Marvel's mightiest heroes. You see Spider-Man and everyone. And also there's a mix of villains as usual, or anti-heroes if I call them this one. So anyway, all of them combine together, try to get these 6 Infinity Stones, so that Thanos doesn't get before Thanos gets them, and so that they don't really screw him up. And I feel, and so that's the story. I know it might remind you of a movie that came out last year. I don't know. It was a super underrated movie. It didn't fare that much at the box office. Yeah, I just don't really know. I can't remember what the name of the movie, honestly. So yeah, that's a bad joke. Anyway, like I was saying, the story is pretty straightforward. I don't think it's like Ultimate Alliance 2, where like in the game, the first act, it has a bunch of twists, so that the end goal of the game is different. Like in the first act was stopping this kind of villain, it's over. But then the second act is pretty much the Civil War storyline in video game form. That's there. And the third act is pretty much finding the mastermind behind all the previous two acts. That's Ultimate Alliance 2, and I don't think it has the narrative focus that Ultimate Alliance 1 did, where each like side quest was important to the story and adds up to the ending. You get alternate endings, you get dialogue options. I don't think that narrative depth is there in this one, and so far I haven't seen that sort of thing. I haven't seen any dialogue options in the like 4 to 6 hours I played the game. So I don't think this game is as narrative focused as the last two games were, and it's pretty much like Infinity War's story, but with more heroes, with a mix of villains, and also in video game form. So that's the story, like pretty straightforward. Then let's get down to the graphics, which are an elephant in the room, because the first time people saw it, they were a bit unhappy with the graphics. Why? Is because like they were saying like it looked like a mobile game, it looked cheap, and especially for coming out only for the Switch, and not really inspires confidence. And that's understandable because the first two Ultimate Alliance games focus more on a realistic type look. It feel more of a realism, like more realistic look, right? But then Ultimate Alliance 3 took a complete 360 and gave you this arcadey type of look. And honestly, I like the graphics in the game. Like after fairly, there was a long gap before the game was first shown to us to now. But obviously, I warm up to it, and whatever displeasures or whatever problems I had back in the day, it's sort of washed out now. So I think that the art style looks really nice. It's pretty clean in console mode. Like the character models look really nice with the way they move and everything. The frame rate's pretty solid too. Like I said, really like the art style. It gives a more comic book type of vibe, which I feel like it's essential for a Marvel game of this scale to have that Marvel vibe, which is essential to it. And the graphics and the art style really live up to that. And I really like the character models of like each superhero in this game. It's really nice and I like it. So like sure, it's not realistic, but realistic isn't equal to like good, right? And if you don't like the graphics compared to the other ones, that's subjective. I don't really have any opinions on which is better, so let's just leave it at that. The graphics look nice, and I don't know about handheld mode because I haven't played it yet. I don't know if it'll be if it's like a Xenoblade situation, where in Xenoblade, I know I made two types of pronunciations for Xenoblade. That's crazy. Anyway, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, there was a clear difference of how the game looked in console mode and in handheld mode. Like in console mode, it looked nice, really beautiful. In handheld mode, it looks sort of like ass. So there's that difference. I don't know if that type of difference is there in the for Ultimate Alliance 3. I don't think it will be there, honestly. But anyway, time will tell when I beat the game. So let's move on to the next thing, and that is the gameplay, which is the meat of it. So the gameplay, a lot happens in this type of a lot of things there to talk about. So one is the combat is pretty much like on base core. It's just more this button mashy type of experience. But then when you get more onto it, you start to uncover the depth the actual combat has. You're just like, oh yeah, now I'm digging deeper. I'm understanding even more of this. And one thing I had to really appreciate is the tutorials in this game. Like the game really takes one step at a time, and it shows you these different tutorials right when you're progressing through the game, when the action is happening. It's not like Xenoblade Chronicles where the game like stops and then dumps all this information onto you, where you feel like you're taking in too much information on your brain. You're just like, okay, I just really need to slow down and then give it a proper read. I have to take my time. I didn't feel like that. I feel like it was broken down to digestible bits, and also the gameplay doesn't stop at all. Whenever the action's happening, when I'm fighting my enemies, it shows that, oh yeah, do so and so thing. If you do that, yet there's the tick that tutorial is over. And I feel like that's how it should be for other games, so that it's much more easier to take in. And I feel like the game introduced me so many other things. I understood the depth of the combat, and when I understood it, I feel like I took it in more easier. I didn't feel like too much information was dropping on me. I never felt like I was overwhelmed with how much there was. I just felt at ease with how much stuff how they introduce the different mechanics of the game. So that's a big plus from me, honestly, to cover up this type of game. And also like this button mashy type of game, and I feel like the button mashy type combat is supportive. Like it works really well with the game, with the battle system like this. Like it's pretty much like a squad of 4 characters, right, where you have to choose from a wide roster of characters. So it's pretty much like this. Like, well, whenever you're playing as one character, you're just like, okay, I'm just getting a bit more exhausted. I mean, this character feels more tedious to play. I feel like I should switch things up. But you do that, and you change up with a different character, or who feel it feels totally fresh. So when you get back to the older character, you're just like, oh yeah, he feels sort of new because I just switched into different characters, right? And also it feels even more fresh when you're playing it with a person with you, with the right person with you, or the right companion. And I made that sound romantic. Or a mate with you. Oh god. Just start up with a friend, or whatever type of person with you. It's fun, right? So that's the type of thing I feel like it's really fun about the game. The co-op. That's why I feel like I really love the Ultimate Alliance game. It's because of how the co-op, and not only the co-op, the combat in general with single player, it is still fun with the wide roster. So besides the whole roster thing, I call it the whole mashy thing. What's the depth with it? So each character has this ability, which is a special attack type thing. For example, let's take Spider-Man. I feel like Spider-Man is the safest way to cover things up without really spoiling other characters, so that you can keep that element of surprise. So Spider-Man, at first, he has this type of ability called web spinner, where he uses his web shots. It's a special ability of his. And Iron Man has his signature Unibeam, right? If you hold the right bumper and then press one of the attack buttons, he does that. They use that attack. But when you hold the right trigger, on the other hand, it's more of a synergy type attack, and it can happen and get triggered if it's with a teammate. And what is the synergy attack? What is it exactly? Let me just get more into that. So each like, also, before I get to that, in a minute, I had to like break this thing down first. So the ability thing is like, okay, so in the menu, it shows that, okay, you can unlock said ability at this level, and I feel like the gap between that is really reasonable, because you start off with the characters at level 5, right? You start off with Spider-Man at level 5. He has the ability, and then he gets his next ability at level 10. So I feel like the gap is really reasonable. I never felt like getting that ability was really grindy. I felt like it was a good, it was the good medium, which is a positive thing. So yeah, and also one thing I really like about the game, which I feel like this game does better than its predecessors, in my opinion, is that it pushes me more to change up my roster, my squad every now and then. It encourages me to try different characters. How so? As in, like, so in the first Ultimate Alliance games, I felt like whenever I'm using these characters, I can use the same set of characters for the entire game and be good with it in the first two Ultimate Alliance games. But in this one, I feel like, okay, I can't take these type of characters for the entire game. I should change up my roster. I must put in different type of characters, because each character has a different quirk, is a different type of character. The attacks work different. They have different affinities, like different elements pretty much. So what do I mean by quirks? Like some enemy, like some characters, they are good at ranged attacks. So, and some other characters like Spider-Man in general are more like, close to mid to close range combat, but there are also, there are also agile characters like Spider-Man. And then there's Venom, a character like Venom, who's bulky, who has a bulkier frame, and also who's stronger, but his attacks are slower. That type of character is really essential for crowd control. And in a game like this, where crowd control is necessary, it's Venom is useful in situations like when waves of enemies are dropping at you. That's what I meant. Sorry for that mix-up. So the like the game doesn't encourage, like, game clearly is like, nah, you just can't be like, I'm going to choose the same type of character like all melee characters, but these different set of characters, it encourages you to try out more characters in the roster, and also the fact that each character is compatible with a specific set of characters. It's some are not. Like for example, you could say Iron Man is really compatible with Captain America, but he might not really be compatible with, say, a Venom, right? And also the synergy. This is where like the synergy attack comes into play. A synergy attack is pretty much like these. Like I mentioned, there are these abilities, right? Like Iron Man's Unibeam. So these type of abilities are actually compatible with specific types of characters. So like Unibeam is perfectly compatible with Captain America, right? It's pretty much like an iconic combination when you think about it. Captain America reflects off its shield when Iron Man shoots his Unibeam. But when he does the same to Spider-Man, he'll get fried or he has to defend himself. So it's that type of thing. It's not really compatible with Spider-Man, but it's compatible with Captain America. It's that sort of logic which really comes into play, and also which also encourages you to change up your roster, your squad every now and then with like each level. And I think it's a really nice change of pace, and it's something that it does better than its predecessors. So I like that, and also the synergy attack as well. But I do feel like the synchronized attack sometimes, like when a computer, the CPU, the AI does AI attacks, not AI attacks, like use these abilities, and you need the coordination, or when you need the synergy attack, it prompts you to press A for a certain character. I feel like the window is too short. Like the button prompt shows up A so fast, and it just vanishes right away, and I just feel like it's annoying. It's just like, yeah, the moment it registers in my brain, and the moment I change and try to press A, it's over, it's gone. When I do pull it off, it's okay, it's nice, but most times it just gets skipped over because like it's too fast. It just appears so fast, and it just goes out of the blue. It's crazy how it works. So it kind of sucks for it to go off like that. And I feel like the older games felt better on setting up these coordinated attacks. Like, so that one thing sort of sucks about the combat. And also another thing that is that sometimes the combat, like so much goes on the screen, you end up hitting the air instead. Like when sometimes I feel like so much was going on the screen. I didn't even know what my character was hitting, where my character was. I just lost sight of the character because it got so jumbled up. But instead, I learned that at that critical and clutch moment, uh, my character was just kicking air. It just felt annoying. It's annoying to see that you don't know what the hell is going on in the combat. You lost track of it, and only you find out that you haven't been hitting anything for a good amount of time. It sort of sucks for that to happen. It's painful. So that's one thing that I feel sort of sucks about the combat. A few things actually sucks about the game. I actually feel like game really gets wrong at some parts. So like, and also the story feels a bit too plain. And before I get to that, story gets a bit too plain. It's a silly nitpick, by the way. Like seriously, I don't know why I said that. So anyway, like I was saying, the combat. And I feel like the next thing is the lab. You have to use the lab. The lab is pretty much like this upgrade tree, or this, this skill tree, or this skill flowchart, whatever you want to call it. I think it's a flowchart, where you get set flowchart. You can enhance different sort of things like vitality, defense, resilience, strength by set amount, and you need enhancement points and coins, which is a currency, to upgrade them. And when you get to a certain upgrade it that flowchart expands to another one, and it focuses on another thing. Like the first one focuses on more stats, on increasing your strength and everything, right? The next one focuses on increasing your offensive, on giving you offensive buffs, or also giving you more stun damage. So that's where the upgrades come into play, and I feel like that's where the depth of the combat goes even further with the abilities, with the synergy attacks, with the affinities and compatibilities of each character, and also with the bonuses you get, like when you form a certain type of team, like when you can form like the X-Force or the X-Men, or you form like the original Avengers or the new Avengers. The game is just like, you chose that kind of team because of the comics, so it gives you a bonus in this certain type of stat, and it rewards you for for using that type of team up, and it's specified. So that's a really neat touch, and that really encourages you to try wider sets of characters because the bonuses you get are different and help you in different ways. So that's the very good gameplay things that give it depth. And also the synergy attacks are really useful because the mini bosses and boss fights in general have two things. They have the HP meter and stagger meter. I think it's the enemy stagger. Enemy stagger is pretty much like it's a secondary meter. Whenever you hit an enemy, hit said enemy, right? Instead of the damage going on to the HP meter directly, it damages the stagger meter even more. It depends on the attack actually. Some type of attacks slightly affect the HP meter but do more damage to the stagger meter. When it runs 0-0, the enemy gets stunned, and then you can beat the shit out of for your enemy. So that's how it works, and I think it's a neat thing. And the synergy attacks are actually more rewarding because when you actually pull them off, not only do you deplete the stagger meter, you also take a good chunk of their HP. There's also this other thing called Ultimate Alliance XP, I guess, or this ultimate attack where everybody combines and does this really super duper combination attack, which is crazy. It's like an ultimate attack. So that type of thing comes into play. So that's the reason why synergy attacks are actually are useful, and that's why you need to have teammates who are compatible with each other, right? So that's all I had to cover about the gameplay so far. What are the problems with it? With the game, it's this. Like I said, sometimes so much goes on. You just don't know what's happening anymore. And I feel like sometimes the camera is solid for the most part, but sometimes in co-op, just because you can't move it, you can't automatically manually move the camera yourself. The game does that for you, and that's a huge flaw because sometimes the game screws up. Like the camera angles are so bad that sometimes most of the times it was solid, but it was like 40% of the time it was bad. Like this one boss fight I had, the camera literally went out of bounds. It was showing me the exterior of a building. I couldn't see any characters because of a certain camera angle. And I went to that camera angle because the fucking boss went to that place and that bitch wanted to try me. So that's the reason. And he just does that. That's... And the next one is that the game, like the camera angles, when you're separated with with your other player for a considerable amount of distance there, right? The camera moves so wide away that literally it's filled with the stuff I actually want to see, like enemies or anything. That's really pushed to a low. Like I can barely see the stuff I want to see, the stuff that's necessary, like the enemies. What are they doing? I can't really see that on a huge TV, a 65-inch TV. I had that problem, by the way, and I feel like it's showing me more of the things that don't matter. Like seriously, it's like a perspective type of thing. There's a huge amount of area which is a waste of space because that it doesn't really include what you want to see. That's not really what you want to see. You want to look at the enemies. You want to look at the zone where the enemies are. What are they doing? But that's really, and they're shown, and it's little. Like when I mean little, I can see a little of it sometimes, and like I said, that's 40% of the time, and that little thing happened once or twice, and that too when the one player and the other were hugely separated. But the camera just sucks, and that's one of the reasons why it's just like I don't know what I'm doing in the combat. And this other boss fight, just because of the distance. The camera became so constricted, so restricted that like I couldn't see where my boss was. I could. I can't tell if the boss was charging at me or hitting me because it was showing me area that wasn't necessary. It was showing me other bullshit. It was like seriously, it was so annoying. That really sucked. And the other thing is that the combat sort of feels hollow whenever you're performing any hit. So think about great combat systems, right? In Batman Arkham games, God of War, Spider-Man, any game with with a great combat system. Whenever you're dealing a blow, you feel that hit. You feel the weight of the hit, and that adds to the immersion of the combat. That makes you feel like, yeah, this is accurate. I'm getting an accurate feeling of what type of attack this is. Okay, this is good combat design. But with Ultimate Alliance 3, it just feels like this. Imagine Spider-Man punching you. It's strong, right? Yeah, take that. You feel that impact. But take it down to a lower level. Like, you don't really feel it. You can feel the impact because the game shows you the animation and the way it was. It shows you that. Like, when it comes to the oomph, it feels weak. Like the art style, I think it's the art style, or I think it's the sound effects. And like you don't feel that oomph when something with huge impact is hitting on you. Like when Thor slams you with the hammer, it's considerably a greater deal of force than Spider-Man punching you, right? Like Spider-Man is punching you with this bare fist. Thor is literally bashing you with his hammer. That's a clear difference on impact. But when I'm doing that in this game, Ultimate Alliance 3, it feels the same. The impact, the weight, it feels the same. Like each attack, the impact feels the same. So do the special abilities. They feel a little bit different because they are quote unquote special, but like that's but at the core, at the heart of the combat, all attacks just feel the same. The weight, the impact of it, it felt, like I said, the exact same. Even with range, I feel like range attacks have a weaker impact. It felt like I wasn't even hitting shit. That's why I felt like the combat just feels sort of hollow. It's fun, it's enjoyable, I had a really nice time with it, but at the same time, those type of things just really bugged me, and it really took me away from the combat. Those really sort of break the immersion for me. Like seriously, it just feels like the same type of attacks. Like, how is Spider-Man punching you? How does that give you the same impact as Thor yeeting you with a hammer? Explain that shit to me. It makes no sense, yeah, but that's how it feels in the game. I can't do shit about it. I'm sorry. So that's one thing, and the other thing is like, okay, so they integrated these type of gimmicks in the game, like stealth sections and puzzle solving sections, and they're so brain dead easy that even a 5-year-old can solve them. It's that easy, and it's ridiculous. Like, okay, if you're trying to integrate those things on a linear game, I'm okay with that, but make sure it's challenging. It feels rewarding. Like, but seriously, it does not. It's so brain dead easy. Like, there's this one area where the character's like, oh my god, I've been struggling to figure this out, can you help me? Where the literal puzzle is pushing some things on a block. Like, it's a special type of block with color, and you have to push a certain type of pillar, not a pillar, like a statue on it, so that you can unlock it. It's when you play the game, it's so brain dead easy. Like, I'm not even kidding. Even a 5-year-old can solve that shit. That's how simple it is. That's how brain dead easy that is. If you're going to introduce that shit, just make it feel like it's not a gimmick, like it's actually, you put effort into it, like you actually meant to be this game, instead of making it this like effortless, heartless, soulless gimmick. It just feels like that. I'm sorry, but it does. That's ridiculous. I mean, it's not a big deal, but it just annoys me when a linear type of game has such gimmicks which doesn't really amount to anything. It's just there. It's forgettable. I mean, just don't do that if you're gonna make it that gimmicky. I'd rather have a straight up linear level than have gimmicky puzzles than that. The other one is, oh yeah, you have to jump at a certain time to lasers. It's that brain dead easy. I'm not kidding. There's only one puzzle which I felt like it actually required like 5% of your brain work. Besides that, I didn't really feel much. So anyway, final verdict, guys. Of for my first impressions on Ultimate Alliance 3, I feel like it's a really fun game. Anybody who wants to buy it should buy it. It's really enjoyable, really by yourself and with friends. I feel like it's a really enjoyable and solid game. I just didn't really feel like it's that better than, we'll say their predecessors, but it's still a really enjoyable game. If you want to buy it, you should. And so far, my score of it is an 8 to an 8.5 out of 10. I feel like I'm gonna give this game an 8 out of 10. That's my okay. Actually, 8.5 out of 10. I'm being too rude on the game. 8.5 out of 10. So far, it's a really nice game. If you own a Switch, or if you're buying a Switch and you want to buy another game, I really think that this game is a solid pick. Thank you for watching. Bye.